So, what if I told you that the most powerful forces governing your sleep, your daily energy, and even how fast you're aging aren't just dictated by your genetics? What if they're actually controlled by a singular, invisible thermostat? I really want you to rethink everything you thought you knew about why you suddenly feel exhausted at 3 p.m., why you get stressed out of absolutely nowhere, or why you might physically feel older than you actually are. The answer isn't just in your DNA or your diet. It lies in this hidden operating system that literally governs human life. Every symptom of afternoon fatigue, every single restless night, it's all actually a biological mystery just waiting to be decoded. And the key to decoding it is what we're looking at today, the thermal metronome and decoding the body's hidden operating system. Okay, let's dive right into section 1, the hidden biological metronome. If we look back thousands of years, ancestral sleep was this profound survival mechanism designed specifically to conserve energy. But today, we understand that sleep isn't just a period of inactivity for your brain, it is actually a biologically mandated drop in your core temperature. We call this your circadian temperature rhythm. It's this continuous, natural fluctuation of your internal heat throughout the day, and it acts as the master regulator of your sleep-wake cycles. Without that crucial thermal drop, your body literally doesn't know it's time to repair itself.
And here is the consequence that most people completely miss. If your internal thermostat is broken, your entire sleep architecture just collapses. Your body temperature dysregulates, and suddenly your sleep is fragmented, you're tossing and turning. You know the feeling, right? Well, this isn't just a random bad night of sleep. This is actually our very first vital clue into a much larger, interconnected mystery.
Which brings us to section 2, the aging thermostat. As we get older, this pretty terrifying biological reality sets in. Our ability to dissipate heat just plummets. See, when you're young, you have incredibly efficient vasodilation, meaning your blood vessels open right up to release heat, and a really robust sweating mechanism. But in an aging body, blood flow to the skin drops significantly, and the temperature sensors in a part of your brain called the hypothalamus, they become muted. It's honestly like having a broken thermostat in your living room. The house is absolutely burning up, but the AC just refuses to kick on. This totally changes how we understand the aging process. When older adults consistently wake up at, say, 3 a.m., it's very often not because their brain is just getting old. It's because their body is physically trapping nocturnal heat. The thermostat is stuck, and the body wakes up in a state of sheer thermal panic. And this trapped heat doesn't just wake you up, it triggers a really dangerous biological domino effect. It starts with that impaired vasodilation we talked about, which leads straight into internal heat stress. Your body perceives this as a major threat, so it activates your HPA axis. That's your body's central stress response system. This triggers a massive spike in cortisol, your primary stress hormone. And chronically elevated nighttime cortisol, yeah, that leads straight down the path to insulin resistance. We're looking at the cascading mystery of how a seemingly harmless increase in nighttime body temperature directly rewires your body for disease. Because of that cortisol spike, your insulin receptors become impaired. Suddenly, leptin, that's the hormone that makes you feel full, it drops off a cliff. Meanwhile, ghrelin violently spikes, which, by the way, is exactly why a night of bad sleep makes you crave donut at 10 a.m. On top of that, pro-inflammatory cytokines rise, flooding your entire system with chronic inflammation. And all of this happens just because you couldn't cool down at night. But man, the rabbit hole goes even deeper. Down at a cellular level, you have these incredible molecular chaperones called heat shock proteins that safeguard your cellular energy. But under chronic thermal and metabolic stress, like tossing and turning hot every single night, these chaperones become utterly exhausted. They can no longer protect your insulin pathways, and that creates a vicious cycle of rapid aging. I mean, this completely changes how you see a bad night's sleep, doesn't it? All right, let's move on to section 3. Forging autonomic resilience. The good news is we do not have to be victims to this aging biology. If temperature is the master switch, well, we can learn to flip it ourselves. By combining ancient Nordic traditions with modern biohacking, we can create what scientists call a vascular pump. By alternating between the extreme cold of a plunge and the extreme heat of a sauna, we actively manipulate our circulatory and nervous systems on demand. The cold forcefully constricts blood vessels while the sauna dilates them wide open, and that heat? It actually reactivates and strengthens those exhausted heat shock proteins we were just talking about, effectively repairing your cells from the inside out. And the neurochemical response here is just staggering. The initial shock of just a 2 to 3 minute cold plunge triggers an immediate massive surge in dopamine. We're talking between 200 and 300% above baseline. What's even more fascinating is that unlike a quick sugar rush or a hit of caffeine, this profound elevation in dopamine and mood persists for several hours. It fundamentally changes your emotional baseline for the entire day.
So this isn't just about feeling awake in the morning. This is a deliberate, structural training of your autonomic stress response. By forcing yourself into the cold, you are heavily activating your prefrontal cortex. That is the part of your brain responsible for emotional regulation and impulse control. You are physically fortifying your brain to build top-down resilience against everyday anxieties. You're literally teaching your body how to stay totally calm when the internal alarms are ringing.
Which leads us to our final part, Section 4, Reprogramming Human Longevity. When we finally understand all these interconnected mechanisms, how heat impacts sleep, how that impacts hormones and aging, the macro-level results are just staggering. A landmark 20-year Finnish study revealed an awe-inspiring statistic. Frequent sauna users had a 40% lower all-cause mortality rate. 40%. That is a monumental shift in human longevity simply from exposing the body to deliberate heat to train the cardiovascular and thermoregulatory systems. So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is that deliberate hot and cold exposure isn't some fleeting fitness fad. It's a scientifically proven protocol to literally rewrite your biological software for a longer, healthier lifespan. It drastically reduces chronic systemic inflammation, it trains your autonomic nervous system to handle stress effortlessly, and maybe most importantly, using a sauna before bed perfectly mimics your body's natural temperature drop when you step out, pushing you deep into restorative, slow-wave sleep. Unlike animal models in a lab, we have a unique evolutionary advantage, and that's conscious choice. We possess this incredibly powerful behavioral thermoregulatory capacity. We don't have to just sit back and accept our biological decline. We can actively modify our thermal environments, whether that's through cold plunges, saunas, or honestly, even just turning down the AC at night, all to protect our brains, stabilize our metabolism, and safeguard our future. We've seen how sleep influences hormones, how hormones influence emotions, and how biology influences the entire trajectory of a human life, and it all ties back to temperature. So, knowing that temperature is the invisible hand guiding your biology, how are you going to alter your environment today to change the trajectory of your entire life? I'm going to leave you with that provocative thought to consider until our next explainer.